the screen here and we'll get the weather for you in Brisbane. It's going to be wet and a top of 24. Similar for Sydney, 23 degrees and a wet day. Canberra also rain and 20 degrees. Melbourne, it will be, we think, Melbourne, some rainy periods late, but some sunny periods early for Melbourne, 24 degrees. In Adelaide, tomorrow it'll be partly cloudy, a top of 22. Hobart, some rain, about 24 degrees. Perth, rainy periods, 22. 34 in Darwin and a late storm. Time for a news update.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. The Shadow Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews says the ransom demands placed on health insurer Medibank Private are a concern and a reminder about cyber vulnerabilities. Medibank Private says it's been contacted by a group alleging to have obtained sensitive customer data. The insurer is working with the Australian Cyber Security Centre and the matter has been referred to the Federal Police. Ms Andrews says these situations are becoming alarmingly frequent.
One occurs globally once every 11 seconds. So it's a chilling reminder to all businesses here in Australia and all individuals of the need to protect your data.
Australia's unemployment rate remains at 3.5%. Official figures show just 900 jobs were created last month. They also show Australians worked 1 million less hours than in September. The Bureau of Statistics says the number of people taking sick leave has dropped back to more normal levels after being 2 to 3 times higher than normal earlier in the year amid high COVID infection rates. Evacuation orders remain in place for Echuca as the town in northern Victoria prepares for record flooding over the weekend due to the Murray River peaking and predicted heavy rainfall. And virologists are now warning there's likely to be an explosion in the number of mosquitoes in flood-affected parts of Australia's east. Jason McKenzie from the Peter Doherty Institute says flood-affected parts of Victoria and New South Wales are most at risk of huge mosquito numbers.
Those areas are just going to be very difficult to be able to clear that lying water in certain areas, marshlands, but also around the homes. There's going to be a lot of water around the homes. People have been moved out of their homes, so they're not really going to be going back and really cleaning up all those pools of water that are lying around. So all of those areas that have been flooded will be of most concern.
The Greens Senator Lydia Thorpe has resigned as the party's deputy leader in the Senate. The ABC revealed that Senator Thorpe briefly dated the ex-president of the Victorian Rebels outlaw motorcycle gang, Dean Martin, while she was on a parliamentary law enforcement committee. Greens leader Adam Bandt says he was unaware of the matter until contacted by the ABC. He says Senator Thorpe should have disclosed her connection to Mr Martin, and the failure to do so showed a significant lack of judgment. The outgoing chairman of Australia's banking regulator is confident that the real estate correction underway won't turn into a crash and damage the nation's financial system. The most recent data from CoreLogic shows property prices are continuing to decrease, with capital city housing markets falling up to 6% in the past 3 months. Wayne Byers leads the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority next week after 8 years as chairman. He says that an adjustment is underway in housing prices.
Some modest falls in house prices are, nothing to be concerned about. Yes, there's a period in which house prices will come down, and they're coming down at present because interest rates are going up, but that's just a normal part of the housing cycle.
The former West Australian Premier Carmen Lawrence has defended the length of time it's taken to speak out against an AFL sponsorship on environmental grounds. The gas giant Woodside has sponsored the Fremantle Dockers for the past 13 years, but a high-profile group, including Ms Lawrence, wants that deal and other fossil fuel sponsorship of sporting clubs to end. Carmen Lawrence is a Dockers devotee and says it's the right time to make the change.
A lot's changed in those 13 years, I think, and companies that are, attempting to make the transition obviously, deserve different treatment from those companies that are doubling down like Woodside and actually expanding their operations.
Russia's deputy envoy to the United Nations is warning his country will cease cooperating with the organisation if it authorises inspections of Russian-launched drones in Ukraine. Dmitry Polyansky has suggested the UN-brokered deal that allowed grain and fertiliser exports from Ukraine's Black Sea ports to resume might not be renewed. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has announced plans to send experts to Ukraine to examine downed drones, which Western powers say were made in Iran. And police at the US Capitol have arrested a man who they say had several guns in his van and claimed to be in Washington to deliver documents to the Supreme Court. The 80-year-old has been detained on charges of possessing an unregistered firearm and ammunition and carrying a pistol without a licence. His arrest came after police surrounded his van, which officials say was illegally parked. Police had shut down several streets around the Capitol and Supreme Court for several hours. You've been listening to the latest from ABC News.